and gentlemen, welcome to Norris High School for tonight's Eastern Midlands Conference regular season softball matchup between the Antlers from Elkhorn High School and your Norris Titans. Norris High School and Eastern Midlands Conference and the Nebraska Schools Activity Association promotes good sportsmanship by students, athletes, coaches, and spectators. We do request your cooperation by supporting the participants and umpires in a positive manner. And ladies and gentlemen, we thank you in advance for that cooperation. Now let's meet tonight's starting lineups. The visiting team on the scoreboard will be Elkhorn High. Leading off for Elkhorn as a designated player, number 2, Brooklyn Rogie. Batting second and playing second base, number 5, Olivia Rivera. Batting third for Elkhorn, playing third base, number 24, Maddie Mitchell. Batting fourth and playing center field, number 32, Carly Villock. Batting fifth for Elkhorn, and in the hole playing shortstop, number 16, Samantha Michaud. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 23, Ava Crawler. Batting seventh and pitching, number 17, Lena Aiden. Batting eighth and playing left field, number 7, Ella Pearson. And batting ninth and playing first base, number 18, Lorena Mishler. And the flex player for Elkhorn, playing and catching, number 10, Olivia Beister. Elkhorn is coached by assistant coaches Holly Hobart, Avery Schrader, Kaylee Shuddy, Nicole Resnicek, Tim Peterson, and the head coach, Mr. Al Schutte. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the starting lineup for your Norris Titans. Leading off and pitching, number 2, Reese Behrens. Batting second and catching, number 7, Liv Mackey. Batting third and playing first base, number 16, Myra Carlo. Batting fourth for the Titans, playing shortstop, number 15, Haley McMurray. Batting fifth and playing right field, number 10, Keelan Yokin. Batting sixth for Norris and playing second base, number 1, Ava Schmuddy. Batting seventh for the Titans, playing third base, number 8, Kinsey Seabrandt. Batting eighth as the designated player, number 13, Hayden Shubkagel. And batting ninth for Norris, playing center field, number 4, Marley Pavelka. And the flex player for Norris, playing left field, number 6, Kylie Rowan. Norris is coached by assistant coaches Cammie Parker, Brian Nerbert, Cheris Wamsley, Chad Otto, Scott Cohote, Brett Behrens, and the head coach, Mr. Kyle McMurray. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please rise, if you're able, and remove your cap for the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome our umpires tonight. We could not play the game without them, Mr. Jordan Adams and Mr. Christopher Giannunzo. Good luck to both teams, and let's play high school softball. We'd like to remind you, spectators, please do not be on the playing field during or after the game. We'd like to further remind you that Norris is a smoke-free and a pet-free campus. Please do not smoke on our school grounds and leave your pets at home. Concession stand is located directly west of the grandstands, and the restrooms are located over at the track at Titan Stadium. Good luck to both teams.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's broadcast here on Norris High School Softball Channel. I'm Mitchell Severson, and tonight we have the Elkhorn Antlers visiting the campus of the Norris School District to take on the Norris Titans. The away team, the Elkhorn Antlers. Elkhorn comes to the game with a 10-10 record with recent loss to Gretna East on Saturday. That was a 4-0 loss, and a recent win against Waverly on Saturday, 10-2. The Antlers are coached by Al Schutte and assisted by Tim Peterson, Nicole Resnick, Kaylee Schutte, Avery Steer, and Holly Hobart. Titans are coached by Kyle McMurray and coming to the game with a 13-7 record, with recent wins against Gretna East 2-1 on Monday and a 4-0 win against Waverly on Saturday. The Titans are also assisted by Scott Cohope, Brett Behrens, and Cheris Walmsley. We'll be back in a little bit here on the Norris Softball Channel.
Leading off for the Antlers, top the first inning, number 2, Brooklyn Roy.
And we're back, and batting for the Elkhorn Antlers here in the top of the first inning, it'll be number 2, Brooklyn Raggy. Strike 1 to Raggy. Reese Barron's on the mound for the Titans. She has a 4.27 ERA in 39.1 innings, 24 earned runs, and 45 punchies. 1-1 the count to Raggy now. The 1-1 pitch is fouled off, and it's 2-1 the count now to Brooklyn Raggy. Raggy, only a sophomore, batting .385 on the year with 10 hits and 26 at-bats, 5 RBIs, and a double. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Behrens. Raggy takes high, ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Raggy. Here's the 2-2 pitch. High and outside, ball 3, and it's a full count now to Raggy. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Just high, ball 4, and it's a walk for Raggy. Brings plate number 5, Olivia Rivera. First pitch to Rivera is grounded up the middle. Got by the shortstop, McMurray, and out at second. So Raggy out at second. It's a fielder's choice for Rivera. That'll bring to the plate number 24, Maddie Mitchell. Here's the first pitch to Mitchell. Ball 1, 1-0 with the count to Maddie Mitchell, with Carly Vilwalk on deck. Mitchell is batting .426 on the year. That ball is fouled out of play down the right field line. With 26 hits in 61 at-bats, 15 runs, 16 RBIs, 2 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Barons. Swung on, hit down the left field line. It's a fair ball that'll roll into the corner. Rivera's gonna round second. She'll be in third, and it's a stand-up double for Maddie Mitchell.
Double by Mitchell brings to plate number 32, Carly.
That'll bring to plate number 32, Carly Vilwalk. Vilwalk's batting .338 on the year with 22 hits and 65 at-bats, 18 runs, 17 RBIs. 1-0 the count to Vilwalk. Around the field for the Titans. Pitching is Reese Barons. Behind the plate is Liv Mackey. At first base, Myra Carlos. Second base, Ava Schmuddy. Shortstop, Haley McMurray. Third base, Kinsey Seabrandt. Ball 2 to Vilwalk. In the outfield and left field, it's Kylie Rowland. Center field, it's Marley Pavelka. And in right field, it's Keelan Yelkin. Swung on and fouled off. That strike one. 2-1 the count to Carly Vilwalk. Here's the 2-1 pitch. High ball 3-1 the count out of Vilwalk. Runners on second and third and only one out for the Antlers here in the top of the first inning. Here's the 3-1 pitch. In there, strike two called, and Vilwalk was heading down to first base. Full count to Vilwalk. Barons comes set. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 3-2. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to right to Yelkin. That's caught. Tagging at third is Rivera. She will score, and it's a 1-0 ball game for the Antlers.
RBI for Vilwalk brings to plate number 16, Samantha.
That'll bring to the plate number 16, Samantha Michow. Swung on and missed. Strike one to Michow. Michow's batting .351 on the year. Swung on, hit to left, and that'll score Mitchell from third. And it'll be a 2-0 ball game. And 2 outs for the Antlers. They'll bring to plate number 23, Ava Crawlard. Here's the 0-1 pitch, high ball 1. 1-0 the count to Crawlard. That was the first pitch of the at-bat. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on, hit to left over the jumping glove of Seabrandt, and it'll be runners on first and second and 2 outs still for the Antlers here in the top of the first inning. That brings to plate Lena Aiden, the pitcher for the Antlers. In there, strike one. 0-1 the count to Lena Aiden. Aiden's batting .267 on the year with 8 hits and 30 at-bats. 3 runs, fouled off and out of play. 0-2 to Aiden now. 3 runs, 9 RBIs, a double, and 3 home runs. On deck for the Antlers is number 7, Ella Pearson. Swung on, hit up the middle, and that'll get through. They're waving Mish out around third. She will score, and it's a 3-0 ball game. On the RBI single from Aiden. That'll bring to plate number 7, Ella Pearson. It's number 4 into pinch run. That is Sophia Nurse. So Ella Pearson up to bat for the Antlers. Runners on first and second and 2 outs. Ball 1 to Pearson. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on, hit to the first baseman Carlo, and caught for the 3rd out of the inning. Not before the Elkhorn Antlers score 3, and heading into the bottom of the 1st, Elkhorn 3, Titans 0. Leading off for the Titans here in the bottom of the 1st inning, it'll be number 2, Reese Behrens, followed by Liv Mackey and Myra Carlo. Behrens is batting .556 on the year. She takes strike 1, 0-1 the count to Reese Behrens. Behrens also has 30 hits and 54 bats, 13 runs, 19 RBIs, 10 doubles, 2 triples, and 4 home runs. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball 1, 1-1 the count out of Behrens. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit to the second baseman. Over to first in time for the 1st out of the inning. Now batting number 7, Liv Mackey. On the mound for the Antlers is number 17, Lena Aiden. The freshman has a 3.41 ERA. Supports a 3.3-2 record in 67.2 innings pitched, 33 earned runs, and 85 punchies. Mackey takes high ball 1, 1-0 the count to Liv Mackey. who's batting .358 on the year with 19 hits and 53 at-bats, 1 run, 12 RBIs, 6 doubles, and a triple. 1-1 the count out of Mackey on the foul ball. In comes Senton. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count out of Mackey. Nobody on, 1 out for the Titans here in the bottom of the first. And here's the 1-2 pitch. High ball 2, 2-2 the count out of Mackey. Titans looking to get on the board here in the bottom of the first after allowing 3 in the top. Swung on, hit in the air to center. That ball is deep. That ball is back. That ball is gone. A solo shot from Liv Mackey. Her first of the year. And the Titans, just like that, get on the board. 3-1 ball game now on the solo shot from Liv Mackey. And that'll bring to the plate number 16, Myra Carlo. Carlo's batting .469 on the year with 23 hits and 49 at-bats, 13 runs, 13 RBIs, 4 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. Here's the first pitch to Carlo. Swung on, hit into center, and it's caught by the center fielder, number 32, Carly Vilwalk. That'll bring to the plate number 15, Haley McMurray. McMurray's batting .245 on the year, has 12 hits and 49 at-bats, 12 runs, 7 RBIs, 3 doubles, and 2 home runs. Here's the first pitch to McMurray. High ball 1. 1-0 the count to McMurray now. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And outside, ball 2. 2-0 the count out of McMurray. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Nobody on for McMurray. 3-1 ball game in favor of Elkhorn. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Sorry, the 2-0 pitch. Swung on to miss, strike 1, 2-1 now. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 2. 2-2 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 2-2 pitch. In there, strike 3 called, and it's a backwards punchy for Aiden, and heading it to the top of the second. It's Antlers 3, Titans 1. Batting for the Antlers here in the top of the second inning, number 18, Lorena Mischler. Antlers batted 8 in the top of the first inning. Barons on for the second inning. Mischler takes strike 1, 0-1 the count to Lorena Mischler. In there, strike 2 called, 0-2 the count to Mischler. Here's the 0-2 pitch. High ball 1-2 the count out of Mischler. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Barons. Swung on and missed, strike 3. First punchy of the day for Barons, and that'll bring to the plate the top of the lineup in number 2, Brooklyn Rogie. Here's the first pitch to Rogie. In there, strike 1 called, 0-1 the count to Brooklyn Rogie. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air. Barons under it, makes the catch for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring to plate number 5, Olivia Rivera. Here's the first pitch to Rivera. Swung on and missed, strike 1, 0-1 the count to Olivia Rivera. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Barons. Swung on, hit to the shortstop, Seabrand over to first in time for the third out of the inning. 1-2-3 inning for the Titans, and heading at the bottom of the second, Elkhorn 3, Titans 1. Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the second inning, it'll be number 10, Keelan Yelkin. Yelkin's batting .304 on the year with 14 hits and 46 at-bats, 11 runs, 7 RBIs, and 3 doubles. Ball 1 to Yelkin. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called, 1-1 the count to Yelkin. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to the second baseman. She's got it and will make the catch for the first out of the inning. That was Olivia Beester making the catch. Brings plate number 1, Ava Schmuddy, the second baseman for the Titans tonight. Here's the first pitch to Schmuddy. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Ava Schmuddy. Schmuddy's batting .319 on the year with 14 hits and 47 at-bats, 11 runs, 4 RBIs, and 2 doubles. Fouled off 0-2 the count now to Schmuddy with Kinsey Seabrand on deck. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Aiden. Swung on, hit in the air to left. The left fielder is under it and makes a catch for the second out of the inning. That was Ella Pearson making the catch for the Antlers. Brings to plate number 8, Kinsey Seabrand, the third baseman tonight for the Titans, batting 7th. Seabrand's batting .200 on the year so far, with 9 hits and 45 at-bats, 10 runs, 6 RBIs, 4 doubles, and a home run. Here's the first pitch to Seabrand. Swung on and fouled off, and the count is 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on, hit to the third baseman. Lined. Great job there by Maddie Mitchell making the catch. And heading into the bottom of the second, it's Titans 1, Elkhorn 3. Leading off for the Antlers here in the top of the third inning, it'll be number 24, Maddie Mitchell, who had a double back in the first inning, so she's 1 for 1. Swung on, hit in the air to right. Keelan Yelkin under it makes the first catch and first out of the inning for the Titans. That'll bring to plate number 32, Carly Vilwalk. Vilwalk flew out to the right fielder back in the first inning. She also has an RBI. Here's the first pitch to Vilwalk. Just outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Carly Vilwalk. Here's the 1-0 pitch, ground ball up the middle. Base hit for Vilwalk. And it'll be a runner on first and 1 out for the Antlers, and that'll bring to the plate number 16, Samantha Michow. First pitch to Michow is swung on and missed, strike 1. 0-1 the count to Samantha Michow, who's 1 for 1 with a single back in the first inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. 0-2 the count to Samantha Michow. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on, hit to left. It's Roland out there. She makes the catch for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring to the plate number 23, Ava Crawlard, sorry. Here's the first pitch to Crawlard. In there, strike one, didn't get the bunt back in time. Out at second on the stolen base. Vilwalk gets caught stealing for the third out of the inning. And heading into the bottom of the third, it's Titans 1, Elkhorn 3. Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the third inning, it'll be number 13, Hayden Shubhakel, followed by Marley Pavelka and Reese Behrens. Shubhakel's DHing tonight for the Titans and supports a .400 batting average. 2 hits and 5 at-bats, 3 runs, 1 RBI. Fouls the first pitch off. 0-1 the count to Hayden Shubhakel. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Shubhakel, inside, ball 1. 1-1 the count to Hayden Shubhakel. Nobody on, nobody out for the Titans here in the bottom of the third. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Lena Aiden. Low ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Shubhakel. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Low ball 3. 3-1 the count now to Shubhakel. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Aiden. Swung on, hit up the middle, base hit for the Titans. Their second hit of the day. And that'll bring to plate number 4, Marley Pavelka. Pavelka's batting .278 on the year with 10 hits and 36 at-bats, 14 runs, 8 RBIs, and a double. Here's the first pitch to Pavelka. Inside, ball 1. 1-0 the count to Marley Pavelka. Here's the 1-1 pitch, 1-0 pitch, sorry, to Pavelka. In there, strike 1. 1-1 the count now to Pavelka. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that'll hit Pavelka. And the Titans have something going with the runners on first and second and nobody out. And the top of the lineup coming up in number 2, Reese Behrens, who grounded out to the second baseman back in the first inning. Here's the first pitch to Barron. Shows bunt. Bunt is down. Over to first in time for the first out of the inning. A 5-4 putout on the sacked bunt. That'll bring to the plate number 7, Liv Mackey, who's 1 for 1 with a solo shot back in the first inning. That's the Titans' only run on the game. Runners at in second and third and 1 out for Mackey. Here's the first pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to center. This one doesn't have the distance. It's to Vilwalk. She makes the catch. Shubakel's tagging. Throw to the plate is not in time, and it's a 3-2 ball game for the Titans. That'll bring to plate number 16, Myra Carlo. Carlo flew out to the center fielder, Vilwalk, back in the first inning. Here's the first pitch to Carlo. In the dirt, ball 1, 1-0 the count to Myra Carlo. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and missed. Gets by the catcher, Beester. Pops out of the glove, and Pavelka will head down to third on the pass ball. No, sir. 1-1 the count to to Carlo. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. And it's 1-2 the count now to Myra Carlo. Swung on, hit to right, and it's caught by Crowland. And heading into the top of the 4th inning, it's Titans 2, Antlers 3. Batting for the Antlers here in the top of the 4th inning, it's Ava Crawlard, followed by Lena Aiden and Ella Pearson. Swung on a miss, strike 1 to Crawlard, who came to bat in the 3rd, but didn't get to complete the at-bat because Carly Vilwalk was thrown out at second on trying to steal. Crawlard's 1 for 1 with the single back in the 1st inning. Swung on, hit in the air. Mackey's under it. So it'll be Seabrand who will make the catch for the first out of the inning. That'll bring to plate number 17, Lena Aiden. On deck is number 7, Ella Pearson. Aiden's 1 for 1 with a single back in the 1st inning. Swung on, hit to the pitcher, Barons, who makes the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. Brings to plate number 7, Ella Pearson. Pearson flew out to the first baseman back in the first inning. Here's the first pitch to Pearson. Ball 1, 1-0 the count to Pearson. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled back. 1-1 the count now to Pearson. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit to the left, and that'll be a base hit for Pearson. And it's 2 outs and a runner on first for number 18, Lorena Mischler. Mischler struck out back in the second inning. The Barons only punchy so far. Swung on and missed, strike 1 to Mischler. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball 1-1 the count now to Laura and Mischler. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled off, and the count's now 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Barons. Taken high, ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Mischler. Here's the 2-2 pitch. High ball 3. 3-2 the count now to Mischler. With Brooklyn Raggi on deck. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, hit to left. Ball is deep. It'll one-hop the wall. Pearson's coming around third. She will score, and it's a 4-2 ball game. On the RBI double for Lorena Mischler. That brings plate number 2, Brooklyn Raggi. Raggi walked back in the first inning and flew out to the pitcher in the second. Here's the first pitch to Raggi in there, strike 1. 0-1 the count to Brooklyn Raggi. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 2. 0-2 the count out to Raggi. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Low ball 1. 1-2 the count out to Raggi. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, hit up the middle. They're going to wave Mischler around third. The throw to the plate is not in time. Raggi's heading down to second. It gets into the outfield. There's no one there to cover. It gets by all the way by the number 15 McMurray, and it'll be a inside the park home run. It'll probably most likely be a double E error 2. But it's now a 6-2 ball game. And that'll bring plate number 5, Olivia Rivera. And there's going to be a meeting on the mound for the Titans. And that's going to give me a chance to read off our sponsors for tonight. Big thank you goes out to our NSTV broadcast sponsors, Andon Bruns Construction, Gaina Trucking and Excavating, Norris Association of Educators, First State Bank, Impact Athletics, Renee Goodhart with Remax Concepts, Genesis Contracting, Sandy Shields with Nebraska Realty, Scott Kohut with Mutual of Omaha, Price's Tree Farm, Proformance, Physical Therapy, Pro SWIP Solutions, U-Stop, Venue 522, and the Norris Athletic Booster Club. Also special thanks to Husband Construction for being our scoreboard sponsor, and to Provision Chiropractic and Wellness for sponsoring our replays. If you are enjoying tonight's free broadcast, please consider donating to us through our PayPal account. Links to donate can be found in the description of our videos or by visiting our website at norse160.org/NSTV. Donors will be mentioned in our future broadcast. Donors of $25 or more will receive a free NSTV t-shirt. And it'll be a solo home run for Olivia Rivera. And that'll make it 7-2.
Solo home run by Rivera. That brings plate number 24, Maddie Mitchell.
That'll bring plate number 24, Maddie Mitchell, who's 1 for 2 with a double in the first and a fly out to the right fielder in the third. In there, strike one called to Mitchell. Swung on, hit to the shortstop, McMurray over to first in time for the third out of the inning. But not before another big inning by the Antlers. A little 2-out rally gave them 4 more runs, and it's 7-2 Elkhorn heading into the bottom of the fourth. Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the fourth inning, it'll be number 15, Haley McMurray, followed by Keelan Yelkin and Ava Schmuddy. Warming up in the Titans bullpen, number 3, Embry Bedner. Here's the first pitch to McMurray, sorry. Ball 1, 1-0 the count to Haley McMurray. Here's the 1-0 pitch to McMurray. In there, strike one. 1-1 the count now to Haley McMurray. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Aiden. Fouled off. 1-2 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Lena Aiden, who's at 40. This will be her 40th pitch of the evening. Swung on, hit in the air. Right fielder under it, makes a diving play. It's Crawler out there in right field making the catch for the first out of the inning, and that'll bring the plate number 10, Keelan Yelkin. Yelkin flew out to the second baseman back in the second inning. Here's the first pitch to Yelkin. In the dirt, ball 1-0 the count to Keelan Yelkin. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to left. The left fielder under it makes a catch in foul territory. It's Ella Pearson out there. 2 fly outs to the outfielders in foul territory, and that'll bring to the plate number 1, Ava Schmuddy, who's 0 for 1 with a fly out to the left fielder back in the second inning. Here's the first pitch to Ava Schmuddy. Swung on it, hit in the air, and fouled straight back. 0-1 the count to Schmuddy. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball 1-1 the count out of Schmuddy. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit down the left field line. And it might have just got stuck in a tree. So it's 1-2 the count now to Ava Schmuddy. Here's the 1-2 pitch in the dirt, ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Schmuddy. That last foul ball from Schmuddy is now permanently out of play, as it did in fact get stuck in a tree. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit down the left field line and foul. And the count will remain the same at 2-2. As they switch the balls out. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, ball 3. 3-2 now, the count to Schmuddy. Three and two, the count now to Ava Schmuddy. And here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Second punchy of the game from Aiden, and heading into the top of the 5th, it's Elkhorn 7, Titans 2.
off for the Antlers. Top 5th inning, number 32, Carly.
Leading off for the Antlers here in the top of the 5th inning, it'll be number 32, Carly Vilwalk. Ball 1 to Vilwalk, who flew out to the left fielder back in the first and singled in the third and was later caught stealing. Hit to the shortstop McMurray for the first out of the inning. That'll bring to plate number 16, Samantha Michaud.
For number 16, Samantha Michaud.
Here's the first pitch to Michaud. In the dirt, ball 1-0 the count to Samantha Michaud. Michaud singled in the first and flew out to the left fielder in the third. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count to Michaud. Swung on, hit to the shortstop McMurray, got it on a couple bounces over to first. Bobbled by McMurray, but picked up just before Michaud can reach first for the second out of the inning.
Brings the play for Elkhorn, number 23, Ava Crawler.
Here's the first pitch to Ava Crawlard. Strike 1 to Crawlard. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Low ball 1-1 the count out to Crawlard. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Barons. Waving, strike 2. 1-2 the count now to Crawlard. High ball 2, that was Barron's 70th pitch, and it's a 2-2 count now to Crawlard. Swung on, hit to the third baseman, Seabrand, and he gets by Seabrand and rolls into left. Roland gets there and throws to the second baseman, but not before Croland can get into second base. So it's a runner on second and 2 outs for number 17, Lena Aiden. Aiden's singled in the first and flew out to the pitcher in the fourth. Swung on, hit in the air to the first baseman, Carlo, who makes the catch for the third out of the inning. Elkhorn gets a runner in scoring position but can't score, and heading to the bottom of the fifth, it's Elkhorn Antlers 7, Norris Titans 2. Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the fifth inning, it'll be number 8, Kinsey Seabrandt, followed by Hayden Schubikel and Marley Pavelka. 7-8-9 for the Titans. Seabrandt lined out to the third baseman back in the second inning. First pitch to Seabrandt is in there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Kinsey Seabrandt. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on, hit to the shortstop who bobbles it, and Seabrandt will be on with the reach on the error. That'll bring to plate number 13, Hayden Shubhakel. Shubhakel singled and later scored back in the third inning. Here's the first pitch to Shubhakel. In there, strike one. 0-1 the count to Hayden Shubhakel. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball one. 1-1 the count to Hayden Shubhakel. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike two. 1-2 the count out to Shubhakel with Pavelka on deck. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike three. Third punchy of the day for Aiden. And that'll bring to plate number 9. The 9-hole hitter, number 4, Marley Pavelka. First pitch to Pavelka is taken for a ball. 1-0 the count to Marley Pavelka, who reached on a hit by pitch back in the third inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. High ball 2-0 the count now to Pavelka. Here's the 2-0 pitch. In there, strike one called. 2-1 the count now to Pavelka. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Pavelka. And the dirt ball 3, that'll get by the catcher, Beester. And Seabrandt will head down to second. 3-1 the count to Pavelka. One out and a runner on second for the Titans. And here's the 3-1 pitch. The low ball 4. And the Titans have runners on first and second and only one out for the top lineup in number 2, Reese Behrens. Behrens grounded out to the second baseman back in the first, and Sack bunted in the third. Here's the first pitch to Behrens. Outside ball 1-0 the count to Reese Behrens. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike one called. 1-1 the count now to Behrens. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Aiden. Swung on, hit to right, and that'll get down for a base hit. Seabrandt's going to stop around third, and it'll be bases loaded. And 1 out for the Titans. And that'll bring to the plate number 7, Liv Mackey, who's 1 for 2 with a flyout to the center fielder in the third and a solo shot back in the first inning. And that'll bring in a courtesy runner, number 12, Leah Ozenbaugh. And there goes Al Schutte to talk with Lena Aiden, and that gives us a chance to thank our sponsors: Andon Bruns Construction, Gaina Trucking and Excavating, Norris Association of Educators, First State Bank, Impact Athletics, Renee Goodhart with Remax Concept, Genesis Contracting, Sandy Shields with Nebraska Realty, Scott Cohout with Mutual of Omaha, Price's Tree Farm, Proformance Physical Therapy, Pro SWIP Solutions, U-Stop, Venue 522, and Norris Athletic Booster Club. Also special thanks to Hausman Construction for being our scoreboard sponsor, and to Provision Chiropractic and Wellness for sponsoring our replays. If you're enjoying tonight's free broadcast, please consider donating to us through our PayPal account. Links to donate can be found in the description of our videos or by visiting our website at norris160.org/nsdv. Donors will be mentioned in our future broadcast. So Liv Mackey on deck, bases loaded. Here's the first pitch. In there, strike 1 to Mackey. Only 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Aiden. Swung on, hit to left. That'll get down for a base hit. 1 run will score. Pavelka's going to round third. She will score as it was bobbled by Pearson in the outfield. And it'll be a 7-4 ball game on the 2 RBI single for Mackey. And Barons moves to second. That'll bring to plate number 16, Myra Carlo. And that's going to bring in a courtesy runner for Mackey, number 11, Greeley Fredenberg. Here's the first pitch to Carlo. Ball 1, 1-0 the count to Myra Carlo. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Myra Carlo. In there, strike 1 called, 1-1 the count out of Carlo, who has 2 flyouts to the outfielders, 1 in the first to the center fielder, and 1 in the third to the right fielder. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Outside, ball 2, 2-1 the count now to Myra Carlo. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Aiden. Swung on and fouled off, and the count will be 2-2 now to Carlo, with Haley McMurray on deck for the Titans. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Carlo. In the dirt, ball 3, and it's 3-2 the count out of Myra Carlo, with runners on first and second and only 1 out. Runners on first and second, 1 out. And here's the payoff pitch from Lena Aiden. In there, strike 3 called. And it's a big strikeout for the Antlers. That'll bring to plate number 15, Haley McMurray. McMurray struck out in the first and flew out to the right fielder in the fourth. 1-0 the count to Haley McMurray. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike one. 1-1 the count to McMurray. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Aiden. Swung on and missed, strike two. 1-2 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Inside, ball two. 2-2 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Aiden. Swung on, hit in the air. Shortstop Michaud's under it, makes the catch for the third out of the inning. Not before the Titans get two more, and heading into the top of the sixth, it's Elkhorn Antlers 7, Norris Titans 4. Batting for the Antlers here in the top of the sixth inning, it'll be Ella Pearson, followed by Lorena Mischler, and then Brooklyn Raggy. Now pitching for the Titans, number 3, Embry Bedner, and in left field, number 12, Leah Ozenbaugh. Strike one to Pearson, who singled in the fourth and flew out to the first baseman in the first. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled, and the count's now 0-2 to Pearson. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Bedner. Fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 0-2. Bedner's going to get a new ball. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Bedner. Outside, ball 1-2 the count now to Ella Pearson, with Lorena Mischler on deck. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bedner. Outside, ball 2-2 the count now to Pearson. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Inside, ball 3, full count now to Pearson. Here's the payoff pitch from Bedner. In there, strike 3 called, and it's the first punchy of the day for Embry Bedner. That'll bring to plate number 18, Lorena Mischler. Here's the first pitch to Mischler. High ball 1-0 the count to Lorena Mischler, who doubled in the 4th and struck out in the 2nd. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Bedner. In there, strike 1 called, 1-1 the count to Mischler. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on a miss, strike 2, 1-2 the count now to Mischler, with Brooklyn Rogie on deck. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Mischler. In there, strike 3 called. 2 punches in the row for Bedner, both of them backwards. That'll bring to plate number 2, Brooklyn Rogie. Here's the first pitch to Rogie. Fouled off. 0-1 the count to Brooklyn Rogie, who walked in the 1st, flew out to the pitcher in the 2nd, doubled in the 4th, and later scored on her own hit on a throwing error by Liv Mackey. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Rogie. Inside, ball 1-1 the count now to Rogie. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Bedner. Swung on and fouled, and the count's now 1-2 to Rogie. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bedner. Swung on and fouled off down the right field line, and it's 1-2 the count out to Brooklyn Rogie. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bedner. Swung on a miss, strike 3. Bedner comes in and strikes out the side in the 6th. And heading into the bottom of the 6th inning, it's 7-4 in favor of Elkhorn. Leading off for the Titans here in the bottom of the sixth, number 10, Keelan Yelkin. Yelkin flew out to the second baseman in the second and flew out to the left fielder in the fourth. First pitch to Yelkin is in there, strike one from Aiden. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Yelkin. Swung on, hit to the shortstop, over to first. And it's bobbled. Yelkin on an error by the first baseman. That brings plate number 1, Ava Schmuddy. Schmuddy on the day flew out to the left fielder in the second and struck out in the fourth. And here's the first pitch to Schmuddy. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Ava Schmuddy. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Schmuddy. Swung on, hit in the air. First baseman's under it and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. That was Mischler. That brings the plate number 8, Kinsey Seabrant. Seabrant flew out to the third baseman in the second and reached on an error in the fifth. Ball 1 to Seabrant. Runner on first and 1 out. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Low ball 2, 2-0 the count now to Seabrant. Here's the 2-0 pitch. In there, strike one called. 2-1 the count now to Kinsey Seabrant. Swung on and fouled off, and the count will be 2-2 now. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Seabrant from Lena Aiden. Grounded to the shortstop, over to first, not in time, and it's runners on first and second, and nobody out for the Titans here in the bottom of the sixth, and that brings plate number 12, Leah Osenbaugh, batting for her first time tonight in replacement of Hayden Schuppichel. Runners on first and second, 1 out for Osenbaugh, and here's the first pitch. Outside, ball 1, 1-0 the count to Leah Osenbaugh. Marley Pavelka on deck for the Titans. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Aiden. In there, strike one, 1-1 the count now to Leah Osenbaugh. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside, ball 2, 2-1 the count now to Osenbaugh. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Ozenbaugh. Swung on, hit down the left field line, but foul. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, ball 3. 3-2 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Here's the payoff pitch. Low ball 4, and the bases are loaded for the Titans. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Down by 3, and here comes Al Schutte to talk with Lena Aiden. Now pitching for the Elkhorn Antlers, number 16, Samantha Michaud. So Pavelka up to bat for the Titans. Michaud on the mound. Pavelka walked in the 3rd and walked in the 5th. Strike 1 to Pavelka. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1-1 the count now to Pavelka. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Pavelka. Fouled off, and the count's now 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Samantha Michaud. Swung on and fouled down the left field line, and the count's now 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside, ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Pavelka. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Pavelka. Swung on, hit to left. Ball is deep, and it gets over the left fielder's glove. That's Pearson. 1 run will score. Here comes Seabrand around 3rd. She will score. And it's a 2 RBI single for Marley Pavelka. And the Titans are only down by 1, and it's 7-6 now in favor of the Elkhorn Antlers. That brings to the plate number 2, Reese Behrens, in the top of the lineup for the Titans. Behrens is grounded out to the second baseman in the first, bunted in the third, and singled in the fifth. Ball one to Reese Behrens. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Samantha Michaud. Low and outside, ball 2. 2-0 the count now to Reese Behrens. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Behrens. Inside, ball 3. 3-0 the count to Reese Behrens now. Here's the 3-0 pitch. In there, strike one called. 3-1 the count now to Behrens, with Liv Mackey on deck for the Titans. Here's the 3-1 pitch to Behrens. Swung on, hit through the gap. Here comes Ozenbaugh around third. She will score, and it's a tie ball game as Pavelka heads to third. Behrens will stand on second. It's an RBI double from Reese Behrens, and it's a 7-7 ball game with 1 out and runners on second and third for Liv Mackey.
RBI for Behrens, play number 7, Liv Mackey.
Titans have come all the way down from 7-2 deficit. Needed 5, and they have gotten 5 in the last 2 innings. And there goes Al Schutte to talk with his team. And looks like he's bringing the whole field in. Liv Mackey up to bat for the Titans. She had a solo home run in the first, fly out to the center fielder in the third, and a single in the fifth. Mackey steps back in the box. Here's the first pitch to Mackey. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Liv Mackey. Runners on second, third. Infield is way in for the Antlers. And here's the 0-1 pitch to Liv Mackey from Samantha Michaud. Swung on, hit to left. It'll get down for a fair ball and roll into the corner. 1 run will score. Behrens heads around third. She will score. It's a 2 RBI double for Olivia Mackey. And that'll give the Titans a 9-7 lead. And that'll bring in Elkhorn pitching change. And it appears to be number 2, Brooklyn Rogie. That was Mackey's 5th RBI of the day.
courtesy running for Norris, number 11, Greeley Frenberg.
Courtesy running for the Titans, number 11, Greeley Frenberg. So Myra Carlo up to bat for the Titans. She's 0 for 3 on the night with a flyout to the center fielder in the first, a flyout to the right fielder in the third, and a strikeout in the fifth. It's Rogie on the mound for the Antlers. Carlo takes ball 1. Absolute nail biter here at the Norris Softball Stadium. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Carlo. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count now to Myra Carlo. Here's the 1-1 pitch. High ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Myra Carlo. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Carlo, and still only 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and that'll make it 3-1 count now. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Inside ball 4, and it'll be a walk to Carlo. McMurray's talking with McMurray. Here's the first pitch to McMurray. Low ball 1, 1-0 the count to Haley McMurray, as this is the Titans' 9th batter of the inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Inside ball 2, 2-0 the count now to Haley McMurray. Still only 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. In there, strike 1 called. 2-1 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Rogie. Shows bunt. Bunt is fouled. And it's 2-2 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Rogie. Swung on, hit through the gap into left. Fredenberg will stay on third. Carlo will move to second, and it's a single by McMurray, and that'll bring to plate number 10, Keelan Yelkin, with the bases loaded and only one out. Here's the first pitch to Yelkin. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Keelan Yelkin. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Rogie. Swung on a miss, strike two. 0-2 the count now to Yelkin. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Yelkin. Outside ball 1-2 the count now to Yelkin. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Rogie. And the dirt ball two, and that's going to get by the catcher. One more run will score as Fredenberg crosses the plate, and the runners move up a base. Now it's 2-2, the count to Yelkin. Here's the 2-2 pitch in the dirt, ball three, and it's 3-2 the count now to Keelan Yelkin. Here's the payoff pitch from Brooklyn Rogie. Swung on and missed, strike three. First punchy of the day from Braggie.
Come back into the Titans, number 1, Eva Schmuddy.
Here's the first pitch to Ava Schmuddy now, with runners on second and third and the two outs. 1-0 the count to Ava Schmuddy. Schmuddy flew out to the left fielder in the second, struck out in the fourth, and flew out to the first baseman in the sixth. Here's the 1-0 pitch. High ball two, 2-0 the count now to Schmuddy. Raggy comes set, and here's the 2-0 pitch. Low ball three, 3-0 the count now to Schmuddy. Here's the 3-0 pitch to Schmuddy. In there, strike one called, 3-1 the count now to Ava Schmuddy. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Fouled off, and it's 3-2 the count now to Schmuddy. Here's the 3-2 pitch from Brooklyn Rogie. Swung on and fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch to Schmuddy. inside ball 4, and it's a walk to Schmuddy, and they'll be loaded again for number 8, Kinsey Seabrant, who lined out to the third baseman in the second, reached on an error in the fifth, and singled in the sixth. Here's the first pitch to Seabrant. Low ball 1, 1-0 the count to Kinsey Seabrant. Here's the one. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count now to Seabrant. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit to the third baseman and caught for the third out of the inning. And heading into the top of the seventh, Titans have flipped the script and take the 10-7 lead. Batting for the Antlers here in the top of the seventh inning, it'll be number 5, Olivia Rivera, followed by Maddie Mitchell and Carly Vilwalk. Bednar came in last inning and struck out this side. Rivera reached on a fielder's choice in the first, grounded out to the the third baseman in the second, and reached on a single in this, and had one of those inside the park error home runs in the fourth. 0-1 the count to Rivera. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Bednar. In there, strike 2 called. 0-2 the count now to Rivera. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Bednar. High and outside, ball 1, 1-2 the count now to Rivera. Here's the 1-2 pitch. High and outside, ball 2, 2-2 the count now to Rivera. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. Sorry, the 2-2 pitch. Fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Bednar. Swung on and missed, strike 3 fourth punch of the day so far from Bednar, and that'll bring to the plate number 24, Maddie Mitchell. Mitchell doubled in the first, flew out to the right fielder in the third, and grounded out to the shortstop in the fourth. Here's the first pitch to Mitchell. Outside ball 1, 1-0 the count to Maddie Mitchell. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Mitchell. Swung on and missed, strike 1, 1-1 the count now to Mitchell. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Bednar. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count now to Mitchell. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. In there, strike 3 called. The 5th punchy of the day for Bednar. And the Elkhorn Antlers are down to their last out. Titans scored 8 unanswered. We're down 7-2. Here's the first pitch to Carly Vilwalk. Swung on and missed. Strike 1. 0-1 the count to Carly Vilwalk, who flew out to the right fielder in the first, singled and later caught stealing in the third, and flew out to the shortstop in the fifth. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Vilwalk. Fouled off, and it's 0-2 the count out of Vilwalk. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Bednar. Fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 0-2. As the Antlers are down to their last strike. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Bednar. Swung on and fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 0-2. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Vilwalk. Just outside, ball 1, 1-2 the count now to Vilwalk. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. And it's fouled off. And the count will remain the same at 1-2. Elkhorn is staying alive. And here's the 1-2 pitch from Embry Bednar. Swung on, hit down the third base line, but just hooks foul. And the count will remain the same at 1-2. And here's the 1-2 pitch from Embry Bednar to Carly Vilwalk. Swung on, hit to the short second baseman Schmuddy, and that'll get through. And Vilwalk's on with the error by Schmuddy. That'll bring to plate number 16, Samantha Vilwalk. Sorry, Samantha Michow. Michal singled in the first, flew out to the left fielder in the third, and ground out to the shortstop in the fifth. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Samantha Michaud. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fouled off, and the count's now 0-2, and the Antlers are down to their last strike with a runner on first and 2 outs. Down by 3. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Embry Bednar. That'll bring to the plate number 23, Ava Crawlard, as the Antlers will not go down here in the 7th. And here comes out Coach Kyle McMurray to talk with the Titans. Big thank you goes out to all of NSDV sponsors: Andon Bruns Construction, Gaina Trucking and Excavating, Norris Association of Educators, First State Bank, Impact Athletics, Renee Goodhart with Remax Concepts, Genesis Contracting, Sandy Shields with Nebraska Realty, Scott Cohote with Mutual of Omaha, Price's Tree Farm, Pro Performance Physical Therapy, Pro SWIP Solutions, U-Stop, Venue 522, and the Norris Athletic Booster Club. Also special thanks to Hausman Construction for being our scoreboard sponsor, and to ProVision Chiropractic and Wellness for sponsoring our replays. If you are enjoying tonight's free broadcast, please consider donating to us through our PayPal account. Links to donate can be found in the description of our videos or by visiting our website at norris160.org/NSDV. Donors will be mentioned in our future broadcast. Donors of $25 or more will receive a free NSDV t-shirt. So Ava Crawlard on up to bat for the Titans. She takes strike one. Crawlard singled in the first. Flew out to the third baseman in the fourth and doubled in the fifth. It's 10-8 as the Antlers got a run on the throwing error by Bednar, and that's 0-2 the count now to Crawlard. Crawlard steps back in there, and here's the 0-2 pitch from Embry Bednar. Just outside, ball one. Antlers down to their last strike. Runner on second, 2 outs. With Lena Aiden on deck for the Antlers. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. Swung on a miss, strike 3, and the Titans win 10-7, complete a comeback from being down 7-2. Later this week, Elkhorn goes to the Columbus High School tournament and will face Scott on the 22nd of September. Norris goes to Waverly on the 22nd and Hastings on the 23rd, and next home game will be Thursday against Bennington. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching NSTV. I'm Mitchell Severson.